The coroner says heat could have played a role in the death of a foster child found in a car. Officials say a 3-year-old boy was found dead in a car yesterday on North Lanford Road. Police say the foster parent thought she had dropped off the child at daycare with her other children and failed to realize that the child did not go inside until she found him in the back of her SUV. Police say the woman called 911 when she found the boy in the car. Investigators are calling this an accidental heat-related death. The name of the child has not been.
Are you all my personal dreams?
Aiden. Is that Sissy?
This is Aiden Seeley. His parents say Aiden was always happy and loved to play with his siblings, and his first word was "da" for dad. But at 15 months old, Aiden was cremated at Roselawn Cemetery in Pueblo. Prosecutors say the little boy was murdered.
Aiden Seeley was in the care and custody of DHS at the time he was brutally murdered, and the parents want to know exactly what happened on that fateful day.
Aiden was put into the foster care system as his parents were trying to turn their lives around, hoping to eventually regain custody. Days before his death, they saw their son one final time during a visit at a DHS facility.
They did notice that he was a bit lethargic, that he wasn't the Aiden that they knew. He wasn't this energetic, this happy-go-lucky little boy that they've always known. And they voiced those concerns.
24 hours later, Aiden was unresponsive and rushed to the hospital, where he died on September 18th. Aiden's parents are now begging Pueblo County for answers with the help of their lawyer, Richard Arona.
Looking at these kids that are in foster care, they're the most vulnerable in our society. And when the county comes in and takes responsibility for them, that's a huge responsibility.
Pueblo DHS placed Aiden along with 3 other foster children into this Pueblo West home, the home of 31-year-old Daisy Spinuzzi and her 36-year-old boyfriend, Ramondo Jones. Both were responsible for Aiden's safety and well-being. 2 months later, both were arrested and charged in connection to the toddler's murder and abuse. Prosecutors said Aiden was tortured. Aiden was placed into the home in July 2020. Turned his wrath on the children. One foster child was struck hard enough on the leg that it left a handprint and bruising. An expert psychologist who reviewed the Aiden Seeley case said under oath, Spinuzzi had informed DHS of injuries to the foster children, and the response she got back was always the same. Quote, "We know this is a rough bunch of kids. Don't worry about it." 13 Investigates asked Pueblo County DHS about this allegation, and they would not comment on it. Last week, our team reached out to Pueblo County again for an interview with its Director of Human Services, Tim Hart. But before we could get an answer, Hart abruptly resigned on Monday.
What?
Answers Aiden Seeley's family so desperately want. Their attorney is calling on Pueblo DHS to make policy changes, and new leadership in the foster care system could be a first step in the right direction.
This is an issue that can no longer lay in the shadows anymore in our community. It needs to come out. We need to be honest about what's going on because, again, we cannot get this wrong. DHS cannot get this wrong. And at some point, enough's enough. This is not an isolated incident as far as some of the deficiencies that we have found. It seems to be a pattern in practice, and no one seems to be correcting it. It needs to be corrected. It needs to come out into the light in order for it to be corrected.
Hello, everybody. How is everybody doing tonight? I know this is going to be a tough subject. This is going to be a tough live, but I was actually looking through the breaking news and all the different things that comes up on my phone, and there's too much of this, y'all. I mean, we just had another one over the weekend. The first one you see, not the second little boy. His was last year in September, but the first one you seen happened last month. Happens every day. There's three things that I'm extremely defensive over, and that's children, animals, and elderly. Things that's defenseless, things that really can't protect themselves, and they look to us for help. So those three things, like, I have my heart, I just can't take it. So when I was looking through the breaking news and I seen this about this little boy, it hit me hard. So I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do just a video on this, because I don't think probably that I'm the only one that has an issue with CPS, DHR, whatever you want to call it. I know in most places it's called CPS, Child Protective Services. Here it's called DHR, Department of Human Resources. And they're supposedly in the child's best interest. I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way at all. If you just Google it. Children murdered by the foster parents. Now, the thing with the one I was talking about this weekend or last month, it's just within the last couple of weeks. This child had just gotten taken out of the parents' custody. Now, I don't know why. Okay, I'll put that out there right now. I don't know why. And some children need to be removed from the parents. I get that. Trust me, I do. I have a story of my own, and we'll get to that here shortly. But there's somebody out there you can call. You don't have to call DHR, CPS, whatever you want to call it. Really, you don't even have to call the cops. You can find a family. You can find a cousin, aunt, uncle, grandparent. I don't give a damn if it's a school teacher. Don't call CPS. Don't. Because when the parent's doing something wrong and the child has to be removed by, and I'm going to call it CPS since it's more widely known that way, but when they have to be removed, CPS, man, they're not in the children's best interest. I promise you that. I have my own story. Y'all, I'm sorry. I'm just shook up. This story really got to me. This little boy had just been removed from the parents. I do not know why. It doesn't even matter. I can assure you the child had grandparents. The child had an aunt, an uncle, a cousin. They had something. 2 days later, his family has to be informed that he was just, quote unquote, forgotten in the car, forgotten to be taken to daycare. And so the child sits in this car all day long until it's found dead of heat. There's no excuse for that. There's just not. You don't forget a child. Now, I see over here in the chat, I see one that is a foster parent. Okay, Chris, you know what? I got foster parent license as well. And that goes back to my story I'll tell here shortly. So if you're a foster parent, and I'm assuming you're a good one, there is good ones out there. But you know yourself, there's bad ones too. And the good foster parents, I know this for a fact here. If something happens, they don't help the foster parent. The CPS don't care. They just don't care. It's such a jacked up system. It is such a bad system. And CPS should be abolished. That is my answer, that I will stick by that no matter what. Here's what needs to happen, in my opinion. Why can't the police take care of it? Just abolish the damn CPS altogether, right? Why can't the police department have its own list of qualified foster parents that they know personally. I mean, come on, counties and communities aren't that big. So your local police is pretty aware of the people that lives in the community. So they're going to know good from bad for the most part. So why can't it be that way? Why does CPS have to even be there? They're not in the children's best interest. Look at Chris. He knows that. It's just not. And I'm sorry that I sound so irritated tonight, everyone. It's just that story really got to me. And imagine being that parent. Imagine being that grandparent. And you get that call that the child that was ripped from your family a couple of days ago is now dead. Now, was that really in its best interest? Really? Come on. Why does the child suffer for something that the parent did? They were probably trying to teach the mom parenting skills. I mean, honey, we're not talking about the Summer case at all. No, that's a horrific case. I know it is. It's a terrible case. It just is. But that's not what this one's about. See, I didn't even know CPS was involved in that case because I haven't looked into it too deeply. I've seen comments on it, and I just it seemed like there was too many theories already out there and conspiracies, and it looked to me like the attention had went from what it should be about to something completely different, a bunch of theories. And the theories shouldn't even be being thrown out there right now, in my opinion. Cooter Brown. Yes, I am Southern. I'm from Alabama. We had to jump through hoops, please. Oh yeah, oh God, yes, I did too, Chris. Background checks out the yin yang. Fingerprints, FBI fingerprints, all kinds of stuff. Yes, we have to go through all that. And so how? But you know what? Somebody can be a bad person and pass a background check with flying colors. We all know that from true crime, right? That's why I'm saying the police pretty much know the communities. They know good and bad. I mean, if people has got a bad background, sometimes, now not all the time, now don't get me wrong, but sometimes it's just because they got caught, and the neighbor could be a hell of a lot worse person, but they didn't get caught, you know? So it does happen that way sometimes. It just does. And one foster parent was the devil in one. Yeah, I mean, it can go either way. But why can't the police department have a list of people that's willing, that they have already did background checks on them? You know, why can't they do it? Why does the CPS have to go in there, yank a child from a family, and then refuse? Because let me tell you, I don't know if some of you know this. I know Chris will know it, but some of you may not know it. Before I had the story that I'll tell you shortly with the CPS, I thought literally in my heart that they were one of the best agencies that we could ever have. An agency that was there for the children, you know. They were there for the children's best interest. They were there to help the children. And how can you get any better than that, right? So I was one of these, well, you know, I really believed in them until I dealt with them. And then when I dealt with them, you know me, we're true crime. What are we going to do? We're going to research everything, tooth and nail, with a fine-tooth comb. And what I found out through my research was horrific. Horrific. The act that Clinton signed in, giving the CPS And it was this then. It's probably more than that now. $600 to $800 for each child they can remove from the family. Then it goes up into the $1,000 bonuses if they can keep them away from their biological family. If they can get them into the system. If the state can get custody of them. And see, Chris, there you go. He is a foster parent. He knows I'm telling the truth here. A lot of people had no clue about this. Them damn bonuses, if the CPS system needs to stay for whatever reasons, I don't really see a reason why, but if they need to stay, then get rid of those bonuses, because it makes the system work like hell to do anything they can to keep children from their biological family. If the system can keep your child in their custody, it was 15 months, it still may be, but if they can keep your child in their custody, full custody, then they can legally adopt your child out in a state program. Google it. There's thousands of kids right now in the foster system adopted out in the state. I get very emotional talking about this because it hits home for me, and I'll tell you my story in a moment. But when that happens, if they can manage to keep them from the biological family that long, they can adopt them out in the state. Then they get even more bonuses. But the whole time they've got these children, they're getting these super big bonuses. And the minute they can get custody of them, thousands. And this is a fact, y'all, and I'm going to show you it's a fact again in just a minute. Now, some of you may be like me and think, oh, it's great. It's a great thing. No, it's not. It ain't. It's a part of the government that makes money legally kidnapping children. I'm sorry. I'm probably going to get hate for that, but I know I've been there. I went through it. And it's just the way it is. The things you're probably going to hear in this video is going to surprise some of you that's not real familiar with the system and how the CPS and the DHR work. And this video may even get janked down. There's a high likely, but I think people need to know what's really going on in that system that I didn't have a clue about. Not a clue. And I'm glad Chris is in here because he is a foster parent at the moment, so he knows exactly what I'm talking about. And there was one I just showed that was, Anna. See, she was a foster child. It's not what you think it is, people. It's not what you think. It's horrific. Hey, Ashley, how are you doing tonight, honey? I've learned a lot. I'm sorry, y'all, that I haven't really been saying hi to everyone. I want everybody to know I see you in here. And thank you all for coming by. I really do appreciate it. You know, I don't do lives much, but things like this, I don't know. I was shaking. I couldn't make a video on it. I was so mad. I just cannot stand it. Ashley, honey, I wanted to as well. I did. I wanted to become a CPS social worker because in my heart I would be helping children. And there, that to me, I mean, what better rewarding job can you have than helping children? However, do your homework. Because when you work for the government, you have to go by their rules. And your rules, and in your mind, I don't think is going to be the same thing their rules are that you'll have to do. That's why they need to find others that do it out of care. I so totally agree. I've seen children thrive in foster care and then get reunited with bio parents and age out, turning to runaways. Do you realize? And that's true. And as I say, some foster places are very good. They're there for the right reasons. They love the children and they want to help. But believe it or not, and this is a statistical fact, there's a whole lot more bad than there is good. And that's just a fact. I mean, just Google it. No, you wouldn't be able to, Ashley. I know you, and you wouldn't be able to do it. Not with the rules you have to go by. See, I was actually talking to an ex-social worker. And she couldn't do it. She had went to college. This was like something she had wanted to do since she was a child. Okay? She went to college. She was in the field for 6 months only. And she went into a home of a single mother, and the single mother had a newborn baby. Okay, the neighbor had actually called because the baby crying. It had colic, and I know you mamas and grandmas and all y'all know what colic is. And when you got a colicky baby, you got a noisy, fussy baby, and no matter what you do, that baby's going to get louder and louder, and he's going to do it at the same time every night. That's just how colic works. But anyway, she was living in these apartments, and they're really close to each other. And so the neighbor, yeah, Roxy, it's terrible. I know. My oldest granddaughter had it. Oh my God, it's terrible. And it makes the parent feel worse, I think, than it does the child, because you can't, you want to help them and you can't. But anyway, this lady, she had this newborn baby and she had like a 2-year-old, and her house, I'm not going to say it that way. There was a lady next door, an older lady, bitching all the time about this baby crying. So she calls the CPS on the woman, right? So they go into her house, and her house is spotless. The kids are taken care of. The kids look good. And so they're just digging through. They're trying to find something, okay? They're just trying to find anything. Because you got a newborn baby here and a 2-year-old. And the way a lot of those workers look at that, that's commodities. And I'll show you what I mean by that in just a minute. But anything they could find. Well, the mom had just got done cleaning. And this is a true story, y'all. The mother had a half a gallon of bleach sitting up on the counter where she had just mopped the floors and cleaned and this, that, and the other. So the DHR worker goes over to the crib, picks up the newborn, gets the 2-year-old, gets it by the arm, and she starts out the door. The mother's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "This house is not safe for these children." What? What are you talking about? This bleach. This child could climb up this cabinet here and have this bleach. We will contact you within 72 hours. Takes off with her kids. True story. And the one that was with her, the one that was being trained, my buddy, she said, "What? I don't even think he could have got up there." Yeah, he could. Yeah, he could. The big social worker, the one that was training her. Yeah, he could. Well, she come to find out that they got the bonuses for getting those kids. That mother she got her children back. That's a good thing, y'all. But it took her almost a year to get her kids back. She didn't even see the little one take its first steps. She had to take parenting classes. She had to pay out the ass for parenting classes, all kinds of stuff, drug tests, and she had never done drugs. But she had to prove to the system for 8 months that she was a fitting mother because she had cleaned her house And that half a gallon of bleach was still on her counter. Commodities, money, unjustified. Now that's a true story. It's unreal. Now workers even take samples from their hair to see if they've been exposed to chemicals or marijuana. I don't think parents should be penalized. Yeah, I mean, it was just, geez, not long ago. There was one found, it was killed in a foster home, taken away from the parents because, yeah, they smoked marijuana or something. And their child was killed in the foster system. It's terrible. Now, there definitely is children that does need to be removed from the parents. I get that. It just is. And in that case, there's got to be biological family somewhere. Cousins, aunts, uncles, grandparents, even extended family, somebody, a neighbor. It doesn't have to be this way. Or, like I say, the police already have, before there was a DHR and CPS and all this, the police handled it all. If children had to be removed, they did. They had lists. The police did. I had epilepsy, and the woman, see, beat me. My God. See, beats, molested, trafficked. It's unreal. One of my friends, Tanya Hagen, and y'all probably know her. She is, part of the true crime world. She's the author of the book, No Inclination. Yeah. Anyway, she said that there was a situation she ran into one time, and she was going to call them. And I'm pretty sure it was Tanya that told me this. I'm almost certain it was. And she said that she was talking to someone else about it, and they was like, no, don't do that. And so she didn't. She ended up telling somebody else, and everything was okay. And she says now, after she had actually learned more about the system, she thanks God every day that she didn't call them. No, let me tell you, the southern states, let me tell you, Alabama is terrible. They just, within the last 2 weeks, they shut down a group home orphanage that was in such horrific living conditions. Now, this wasn't just a foster home. This was an orphanage, with many children there. And they will put them there if they don't have a foster place to put them. They'll put them in one of these group homes. And it was horrific. The place was eat up with head lice, bed bugs, children being molested, children being beat, malnourished. But yet they were collecting tons of money from the state to keep the orphanage going. The house parents was pocketing the money and taking the card that the food was supposed to be going into the house, and they were putting the food in their own house with it. And that's just one of many. And this was even one of the Baptists, like the Baptists, the religious organizations, which there's many of those as well, that the CPS works through. Yeah, for revenge. That I've been seeing that on here. Like people is calling CPS just because they get mad at a creator or something. Are you kidding me? Like you're not. Do you know who you're hurting there? If they were to walk in there and you get that one Karen social worker that every one of them has, they got more than one. But if that happens to be the one that takes that call and that bottle of bleach or whatever, they'll find something. They'll find something. If they want to find something, they will. It doesn't matter how awesome your house is. Trust me. If they want to, they will. Susan's children, the boys, were forced by the courts to attend visitation. Yeah, Rain Dancer. It's horrific. And that's the reason I did this live tonight, is because I think maybe there could be people like me that I truly thought in my heart that the CPS, DHR, and things like this were such a good thing to have out there for the children that needed removed and put into these homes that the parents have been background checked. Hell, they're checked up one side and down the other. But just because you can pass all that don't mean you're a good person. It just don't. You know, some of the biggest narcissists in the world, and I know that word's overused a lot, but hey, let's be real. They're out there. You gotta call it what it is. Some of the biggest narcissists out in the world, I dealt with one personally, never get in trouble, man. They're looked at great, right? They're looked at like damn good community citizens, right? Outside that door. But behind that door, they're a completely different person. But they also have this philosophy. What happens in this house stays in this house. You know, and the wife and the kids and everybody, they're like, yeah, we don't talk. And what happens here stays here. And so to the rest of the world, they look like wonderful people. Huh. It happens. And that goes back to just because you got a little charge, if it's not a crazy charge, you know, but if it's just a small charge and your neighbor over here that don't mean your neighbor's better than you. Trust me. That just means your neighbor ain't got caught and you did. That's what it means. Yeah, there ain't no, I don't know. But the Georgia, is any of you from Georgia? Is any of you from the southern states? Because if you are, you may absolutely know exactly what I'm fixing to show you here. You may already know about it. But in Georgia, which is just a state over from me, not even that far from me. So, I mean, they're all about the same. But anyway, in Georgia, the state over from me, there was a senator there. And she got tired of seeing the CPS and the DHR make so much money on kids. Now, keep in mind, you have to keep them away from their biological parents, or there's no money in it for the system. Not really. They'll get the little bonus for pulling them out of the house. But if they can keep them out of that house for random crazy reasons and keep them away from biological family, then they get huge bonuses. And then if they can keep them long enough, they can adopt them out in the state and really get money. Now, here's the kicker to that. Imagine it's 3 children. And the state has been able to keep them that long. And they adopt them out. And they're on a website. by the way. They're on a website. It's just like shopping on Amazon. It's disgusting. But they're on a website. Well, suppose this man over here wants this little 15-year-old girl. Well, this 15-year-old girl's got a 7-year-old little sister. And these two kids has bonded. They've been through hell and back together, right? They're on this damn site. But this man only wants the 15-year-old. He don't want this other one over here. He lives in a different state and everything. I've seen this happen, y'all. And the only reason her kids were taken from her is because she was deaf. But let me tell you, she was a damn good mother. But this 15-year-old will get moved to Las Vegas and adopted to somebody there. They come and get her. She's not going to get to see her 7-year-old little sister again. Don't even know where in the hell she's adopted out at. What state she's adopted out at. There's a chance they'll never see each other again. One day, maybe when they grow up, they'll hold up these little signs. Have you seen my sister? Looking for my biological sister. Man, it's bullshit. It is just wrong. It's wrong. Yeah, look at Chris. Chris is a foster parent, y'all. He is, and he's one of the good ones. But he knows what I'm talking about here. You can go to this damn site, and it's like shopping on Amazon. It's horrendous. It's just, oh my God. And if you have these kids, it's already been through hell and back. And then you're pulling them apart from each other. And who knows who in the hell's adopting this little girl? She ain't got no option. She ain't got no option. They gonna go in there and tell her, well, you're being adopted. Well, to who? Well, it don't matter. That's not your choice. That ain't your choice. It's our choice. And if they got the money, then you'll be leaving here. And no, they don't want your siblings. They just want you. How in the hell is that right? I'm sorry, I just get very emotional over this. But anyway, back to the Georgia senator. She was going to expose the system. She wanted it gone. She got sick of seeing children murdered, abused, solicited, exploited. She got tired of it. And she was going up for re-election. And her main goal was to abolish the system or do one hell of an overwork on it, which it needs. Well, guess what? She was campaigning. She done her speech. Less than 48 hours later, her and her husband was found dead in their home, shot in the back of the head, execution style. And guess what else? It was ruled a murder-suicide. Imagine that. Now that is true. Look it up. No, it wasn't no murder-suicide. She said too much in her campaign. She said too much to too many people. There's a lot of money in the CPS system. Now, this is a video I made back a long, long time ago. I'm not going to play you the whole video. I just want to play you that one part about this senator I just told you about. This is actually the campaign speech she did that got her and her husband murdered, execution style, because she said this. And of course, she obviously didn't win senator, of course, because she was murdered. But she would have, I truly believe she would have took that seat. And she would have done something with the system. But that is not what they want done. There's way too much money there for that. But I'm going to play you this small part of this video. If you guys have not seen, that's right, loose lips sink ships. And that's what happened to her. That's what happened to her. If y'all hadn't seen this video I made, it's called The Baby Farmer. It's in my rabbit hole playlist. It's terrible. But I want you to listen to this for just a second, and then I'm going to come back. I'm going to tell you my story. And then if any of you out there have a story, if you want to come up and tell it, that's fine. We'll talk about it together. Because this is one thing very near and dear to my heart.
It required a court order to enter the residence of a parent or guardian to seize a child. It called for family court to be open to the public. Confidentiality and secrecy in family court protects the wrong people. It provided that immunity in the system shall not extend to the seizures of children that are found to be in violation, nor to the administration of medication to a child over the objection of the parent or custodian, and it provided the state from applying for, obtaining, receiving, or accepting adoption incentive payments under the Federal Adoption and Safe Families Act of 1997. The Department of Child Protective Services has become a protected empire built on taking children and separating families. This is not to say that there are not those children who do need to be removed from wretched situations and need protection. However, my report is concerned with the children and parents caught up in legal kidnapping. Having worked with probably 300 cases statewide and hundreds across the country, and in nearly every state, I am convinced there is no accountability in child protective services. I have come to several conclusions. 2 or 3 are: 1, that poor parents, not always, but oftentimes, are targeted to lose their children because they do not have the wherewithal to hire an attorney and fight the system. That caseworkers and social workers are very often guilty of fraud. They withhold and destroy evidence. They fabricate evidence, and they seek to terminate parental rights unnecessarily. That the separation of families and the snatching of children is growing as the business grows because state and local governments have grown accustomed to having these taxpayer dollars to balance their ever-growing budgets. That the bureaucracy is huge. Look at who is getting paid: state employees, attorneys, court investigators, guardian ad litems, court personnel, and judges. There are psychologists, therapists, psychiatrists, counselors, foster parents, adoptive parents, and on and on. All are looking to the children in state custody to provide job security. That the Adoption and the Safe Families Act, set in motion first in 1974 by Walter Mondale and later in 1997 by President Bill Clinton, offered cash bonuses to the states for every child they adopted out of foster care. In order to receive the adoption incentive bonuses, local child protective services would need more children. They must have merchandise that sells, and they must have plenty so the buyer can choose. Some counties often offer $4,000 to $6,000 bonus for each child adopted out to strangers, and an additional $2,000 for a special needs child. Employees work to keep the federal dollars flowing. But that is only the beginning figure in the formula in which each bonus is multiplied by the percentage that the state has managed to exceed its baseline adoption number. Therefore, states and local communities work hard to reach their goals for increased numbers of adoptions for children in foster care. As you can see, this program is offered from the very top and is run by Health and Human Resources. This is why victims in Child Protective Services get no help from their legislators. It explains why my bill, Senate 415, suffered such defeat in the Judicial Committee, and why I was cut off at every juncture, and why I was defeated myself last month for my reelection by another Republican. That tax dollars are being used to keep this gigantic system afloat. Many grandparents have called me to get custody of their grandparents before being lost in the system. Grandparents who lose their grandchildren to strangers have lost their own flesh and blood. The children lose their family heritage, and grandparents and parents too lose the connection of their heirs. And that the National Center on Child Abuse and Neglect in 1998 reported that 6 times more children died in foster care than in the general public, and that once removed to official safety, these children are far more likely to suffer abuse, including sexual molestation, than in the general population. Think what that number is today, 10 years later. Here are a couple of the recommendations on my list. Call for an independent audit of all state child protective services and for a federal congressional hearing on child protective services. Abolish the federal and state financial incentives that have turned child protective services into a business that separates families for money. I have witnessed such injustice and harm brought to so many families that I am not sure if reform of the system is even possible. The system cannot be trusted. It does not serve the people. It obliterates families and children simply because it has the power to do so. What I have said to you in these few minutes is that we must confront the fraud in child protective services. Child Protective Services seizes children using the very system that is paid for by the taxpayer, who actually believes it is used to protect abused and neglected children. The bureaucracy of workers benefit financially by a system that converts children into cash while destroying their families and their lives. No child who emerges from the system can ever be sound or whole. Many disappear and never are ever heard from again. God will not stand for what is happening to our children and our families. His heart beats for these children. He will lift up the downtrodden. What is happening in America regarding child protective services is a criminal political phenomenon, and it must be brought to an end. Please join me in working to help set our children and our families free. To whom much is given, much is required. As you pray for this nation, pray for the upcoming election and for our national financial crisis, please pray for our children and for our families. We all must press on and win this race for America. Thank you very much.
We have so many that are absolutely delirious. They are so desperate. They do not know where to turn. And actually, they have no place to turn for help. And of course, parents, the poorer the families are, those are the ones who are targeted because they don't have the wherewithal to fight the system or hire an attorney. And they are just caught up in it. And many of them are because their children are blue-eyed or blonde or exactly what someone wants, and those families are targeted. So it is just heartbreaking as to what is going on and what we've got to do in order to bring this to an end. The children on the internet, and you can just go through their pictures and choose the one you want. Then there are some children that even if you might like to, if a really good person who is really trying to help a child will choose that child, oftentimes then they refuse to let these parents have the child. So if your motives are pure as the driven snow, and you're trying to really help get a child out of that system and give them a new life, oftentimes they won't let the children go. The child. Very strong bill that I introduced to correct it here in the state of Georgia, and of course that bill was defeated. I also had several parents lined up to come down and do a video, and the video was defeated. And then, of course, I lost my Senate seat. So there's a huge battle over this, and many states don't want to let that money go that they've gotten used to. And one thing we haven't mentioned that I'd like to bring out is how huge the bureaucracy is. It is made up of caseworkers and social workers and attorneys and guardian ad litem and judges and psychiatrists and psychologists, and it goes on and on. The bureaucracy is huge.
It's a true story, y'all. It's terrible. So, as I've said before, if there's any way and you ever feel like, hey, I'm going to call CPS or DHR, I think those kids need taken away. Please don't. If you know a family member or someone, anyone, cousin, neighbor, I don't care. Make that your absolute last priority. Even if you got to go sit down and talk to the parent, try to do something. Try to make that the last thing you do. For anybody new in here, Nancy Schaefer, the lady we just looked at, she was murdered execution style. It was either 24 or 48 hours after she made this speech. Her and her husband in their home. She said a little too much. So anyway, okay, I'm going to tell y'all my story now. And I'm not going to say it all because it's pretty emotional to me. But hey, people need to know. You need to know what this system is. So, back many years ago, I'll just put it this way. It's a little less than 10, but two of my grandchildren, their mom, which is my daughter, started having some issues. Her issues were due to her abuse from her second husband. Her first husband happens to be the father of two of her children. She actually has 5, 2 of them. But their father had already passed away. So she married this other guy and took those 2 with her. And he was extremely abusive. And when you talk about narcissist, this guy, top of the line, a veteran. But here's the kicker with his veteran. He didn't even finish basic training, right? He hollered PTSD before he actually did anything. So he came home and now he gets that PTSD check. Now, let me tell you a little something else about him before I get any farther. When my daughter met him, she was 21, 22. And he had already been married 2 times before. He already had 6 kids. He's a decade older than her. And she was in a bad place, right? Now, she was very anti-drug, an amazing mother, worked her ass off, being a CNA. She was going to college to be a nurse. Now, this is what my daughter was doing. Now, this is for real. Can't even believe I'm telling this story, but it needs to be told. Anyway, she meets him, and she's in a place, right? Bad place. So he starts going. Now, he lives, now keep in mind, he lives an hour from where we did. So she starts getting off work. She worked 3rd shift, and she starts getting off work 7 o'clock in the morning. And guess who's sitting out in the parking lot? He is. And she comes home and she's like, Mom, isn't that so sweet? He drove all the way up here because he said he just wanted to see me. Just wanted to see me. I said, has he got a job? I mean, of course that's what I said, right? I mean, how's he doing this every day? And he's got 6 kids. And even if he's not with the moms, still. And she's like, no, he's going to college. And I'm like, really? He's going to college. Yeah, he's going on the GI Bill, Mom. He's a veteran. Well, she knew veterans are very near and dear to my heart, like very near and dear. My dad is a Purple Heart. He earned a Purple Heart in the Korean War. So veterans have a big place in my heart. Really? He's a veteran? Yeah, Afghan. I'm like, wow, okay. I don't know, Felicia, if that's, cool or not. Meeting you every morning and him driving an hour just to meet you there. It's kind of weird, I think. She's young, so she's thinking it's cool of him to want to meet her there every damn morning and take her to breakfast. Like, I don't know, it's kind of weird to me, but whatever. So it's close to Christmas, and she was at Walmart shopping for the kids. She comes home and she goes, Mom, you're never going to believe it. I was just standing there, and guess who taps me on the shoulder? I said, I don't know. And she says his name, and I said, what? What? And she's like, yeah. He called me right as I went into Walmart and said, what are you doing? He said, oh, I'm just doing some Christmas shopping for the kids, He's like, oh, really? So he keeps her on the phone, right? Well, what are you looking at now? And he's just having this conversation with her, but the whole time he's on the damn road to come up here. Hour away. And in the store, he's still talking to her on the phone, and he just comes up and he taps her on the arm, and she thinks that's cute. Well, when she's telling me this, me being the old wise owl I am, I'm like, no, wait a minute. That's not cute, Felicia. That right there is just a little bit creepy as hell. That's creeper to me. No, Mom, you think everything. You need to quit watching ID channel. Oh, my God. And I'm like, no, Felicia, that's weird. I don't care how you look at it. That's weird. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. Oh, my God, Mom. You know how you kids are, right? You hate everybody. That's just what they think. But I'm already thinking the guy's a creeper. So, hang on just a second, y'all. I got to shut this door. Right, Nellie, very much a creeper. But kids, these young girls, and they're young, and I don't know, that she just thought it was cute, I don't know. But I'm telling her it's a creeper, and she's thinking, yeah, I think everybody's a creeper. But anyway, so she had knew him then about 2 or 3 weeks. Well, it comes Christmas, and I'd already told her he's not coming to my house because I already had bad vibes on the day, right? No, I don't even want him here. I wished you would just forget he ever existed. Then she breaks the news to me that she's going to his family's for dinner or whatever, but she didn't want to bring the girls, the kids, the only 2 she had at the time. And I was like, why? That's cool. I don't want you to either, but why, And she's like, well, Mom, they're loud and yeah, they're kids. They're, one of them's a toddler and one of them's, they're kids. Yeah, but, I just don't want him to think they're terrible. I'm like, whatever. Why do you care? He's got 6 kids. He should already know what in the hell kids are like. Yeah, but I just can they just stay here? Well, yeah, of course they can. They live here. You do too. What's the deal? So anyway, she comes back. And she's telling me all about his mom, and she's so sweet and all this and that. And I'm like, okay, Felicia, let's talk, honey. I said, what about his other 2 ex-wives? And she's like, well, Mom, they were terrible. They were awful. Really? Who told you that? Well, he did. Well, of course he did. Maybe you need to call them. No, Mom, they are just bitches. He told me one of them's on drugs and the other one was running around on him, and they're just bitches. Of course, that's what he said. I wish you would call them. No, I don't like them. I already don't like them. So y'all know where this is going, right? I'm seeing what's happening here, and she's not, because she never dealt with nothing like this. So anyway, this is Christmas. He comes in my damn house anyway. And we always would wrap up a small little box. We let the girls always pick out something for their dad, right? So they wrapped it and they were so proud of it. Okay. So he comes in my house and he sees their dad's name on this box. He looks at it and he said, "Oh, he ain't around no more." And I said, "This is the first time you ever been in my house." Now, let me back up just a second. When he first walks in my house, he said, "Which room does she sleep in?" And I said, "That one up there," pointed upstairs, and that was her room. And he said, "Mind if I go up there?" I said, "Yes, I do." I mean, this is the first time dude's ever in my house, right? So he's already wanting to go up and go through my daughter's room. Okay, this guy's a decade older than her. He's 30 plus. So does that give y'all weird vibes? Because, yeah, that's exactly what I thought. But you know what my daughter said? "Oh, Mom, are you serious? He just wants to see how I decorate and stuff." I'm like, oh, my God, why didn't I raise you to see craziness, Oh, my God. But anyway, this is Christmas, and he comes downstairs and get back to the gift with the kid's daddy's name on it. He picks it up. He holds this little box in his hand. The girls are really proud of this box, y'all. It's got their daddy's name on it. You know what he does? He crunches it up in his damn hand. He throws it over in the fireplace. Says he ain't part of y'all no more. Oh, hell no. I said, "You need to leave. You need to leave now." And then here comes my daughter. "Why are you being this way, Mom? You're embarrassing me, blah, blah." I said, "What in the hell is wrong with this dude? What in the hell? Felicia, are you serious?" So, fast forward a little bit longer, a couple weeks, and we're getting into New Year's. "Mom, I think I'm going to move in with him." "Oh, hell no, you're not. You can't tell me what to do." I said, "You ain't taking the kids." I mean, I done seen this dude for what he was for, right? She couldn't see it. You can't stop me. That's my kids. I don't want my grandkids around him. "Mom, please, you hate everybody." I said, "No, I don't." But Felicia, the dude's weird. He's got 6 kids, okay? 2 ex-wives that were bitches, Mom. I said, "No, how do you know that? Have you called them?" "No, but I ain't going to. I don't want to. I don't like them." Needless to say, here we come up on New Year's Day. His roommate moves out. So I see my daughter toting. She lived with us, upstairs, and we had a TV and different things in there for the kids, So I see her toting a damn TV down the stairs. What are you doing? What are you doing? That's the kids' TV, "Well, we don't have one over at the apartment." I said, "What? You mean you don't what?" And she's like, "No, everything that was there was the roommates." I'm like, "Wait a minute. He's been married twice. He's 30 plus years old, and he's got he don't have anything?" Because, I forgot to tell y'all that she was already using my car, and he drove it all the time, and he wrecked it. But anyway, no, he don't have nothing. But we're going to get up some things. Well, he don't work, Felicia. Only you work. Well, he'll work one day. He's taking computer engineering on the GI Bill. And so anyway, she moves out, and I can still see my granddaughter in the back of that window screaming to the top of her lungs and crying, "Mama, no, Mama, no. What the hell can I do?" Right? So she goes, and I didn't see much of her because they moved so far away. When I did see her, she had bruises on her. She'd have bruises on her. She was real quiet. "What happened to you, Felicia?" "I fell. This happened." It's just always something. I knew what in the hell was happening. I knew. Right? And so my granddaughter told me one day, he had her foot on her neck or whatever. And anyway, it went from worse to worse. My daughter ended up pregnant 11 times. She gave birth 3. The rest of them she lost in miscarriage. So got a lot of little grandbabies in heaven. That's from his abuse. The last one she had to be taken by cesarean section because then she was put on life support for 2 weeks. She had a bleeding brain, hematoma, ventilators, all that. Anyway, she gets out of the hospital, and lo and behold, I didn't know that she had gotten with a neighbor up there, and this neighbor had started sewing her a little pill to make her feel better, numb the pain, from him. She couldn't leave him. She tried. He stalked her. Gonna burn the house down, all kinds of stuff, right? So anyway, this neighbor had did all this to her, got her addicted. So my daughter was now addicted. And he called the DHR. He did. At the hospital. He said, I want my newborn baby checked. Well, my daughter's laid in there on a damn ventilator. And they tell me that they don't even know if she's going to live. And if she does come out of this coma or whatever, that she may be a vegetable or who knows. And when she came out, she didn't remember us. Long story, she ended up getting her memory back. But he called the DHR, wanted to know if his new baby, because Felicia had to be fixed at that point. She had done had too many kids, too many miscarriages. So they had to do a tubal kind of thing on her. Well, he was done with her then, right? He was done with her because that is his objective. The women he's with has got to be baby makers. Got to be. Got to get them Social Security numbers for that VA check. Now, remember, I'm all about the veterans, and I believe they deserve every penny they get if they're not a faker. Okay? My dad was a veteran. But anyway, he was done with her when her tubes got tied. So he called the DHR. And yeah, there was stuff in my daughter's system. Now, my granddaughter, luckily, she only had trace amounts of things. So anyway, DHR comes in. They pull all my daughter's kids. And he wants them with his mom. Well, as you know, my granddaughter's father's dead. But he wants all of them over there, and he's going to adopt them too. I said, no, hell no, he's not. Over my dead body will that happen. The oldest kid started telling the truth about how he was, the abuse and all this. And finally, my daughter told the truth about it as well. So he wasn't allowed to be around the kids either anymore. So that put all of them with his mother. And just a long story short, she's exactly like him. She even told my granddaughters, it's not kin to her, that they were poisoned. They needed to be shot. Locked them in a damn room and left them in there because they weren't her grandchildren. But he wanted them because they got this little check every month from their deceased father. So that's why he wanted them. Anyway, here's another long story short. I went to the DHR. I was going to get my grandkids. I went to court, I hired an attorney. I lost. I lost bigger than hell. So at that point, my daughter, she was still strung out. Their dad's dead. We're really all the girls had. So the girls start being thrown around to foster homes, and the other 3 stay with his mom. So hire an attorney, $7,000 up front, man, straight up. This attorney ends up being my cousin Benny. So he was that much help in court. But I had something good going on. The GAL, the guardian ad litem, really liked us. Like, loved us. And he says, this ain't over. He tells me another attorney I need to go hire, a damn good attorney. I did. $10,000 up front, retainer fee. So we 401k'd and mortgaged, and we did it, to say the least. Turned down again. 6 months later, goes back to court, turned down again. What is the damn problem? In 1989, when I was 18 years old, no, 1988, 89, it had been 30 plus years. Something I'd done for damn forgot about, right? I got in a fight. And I had a misdemeanor on me. Not a felony, it's a misdemeanor. And reckless endangerment's what it was. I got in a fight because we were moving and this dude stole my daughter's Jenny Lynn crib and sold it, ironically, to somebody I know, and they told me he sold it anyway. I caught him in the Walmart parking lot. I jumped him, and just to be straight honest, I beat his ass. That's my kids, and that's something you just don't mess with. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, went to jail, misdemeanor, reckless endangerment, but it was on my record. That's the thing. It was on my record, the reckless endangerment. Even though it was a misdemeanor, it didn't matter. Even though it was 30 plus years ago, didn't matter. It was still there. So the DHR, CPS, whatever you want to call it, said I would be a danger to children. I would be a danger to children. Are you serious? I had done raised my kids, pretty much raised my grandkids, had custody of my elderly aunt and uncle, you know, through the DHR, actually, through the DHR. They gave me custody through the courts because they had went to mention I had to take care of them. But because of that 30-something-year-old record that I had even forgot happened, they took and held it against me. So luckily, thank God, that guardian ad litem pulled a discovery and found out exactly the whole thing. It was a little misdemeanor 30 plus years ago. My attorney was good enough to be like, you can't hold this against her. Look, she's got her foster parent license now, because that is a part I left out. This is a long story, y'all, but I did. I even went to foster parenting classes. Get this. Went to foster parenting classes. Got the license to do all that just so I could prove to them I'm a decent parent, y'all. Come on now. I mean, I had all these people that was going to court with me. Didn't matter. I had that misdemeanor charge 30 plus damn years ago. So the guardian ad litem, our attorney, got together. Anyway, it took us 1.5 years of my grandkids being thrown from foster home to foster home, from orphanage. And I'm not even going to tell you the shit that happened to them because I can't. It's too hard to talk about. But anyway, by the time I finally got them, y'all, 6 weeks. If it had been 6 weeks longer, which they was trying like hell to keep putting off my court date, they did. They continued to put it off for no damn reason. There was no COVID or nothing back then. No, they just kept putting it off for little stupid things. Well, we are not ready. We have to look at something else, this, that, and the other. So they kept putting it off, and they were doing this for a reason, y'all. If they had been able to put it off for 6 more weeks, then my granddaughters would have been adopted out by the state. And me out there fighting like hell to save them. If it hadn't have been for that guardian ad litem, then there's no telling where the hell they would be today. They probably wouldn't be together. They probably wouldn't even be in the same state. And here's another kicker. The biological family is not allowed to know who in the hell adopted them or where in the hell they're at. Now, that's a true story. And I never thought I would put that out there. But I feel like people need to know, man. People need to know how this system works. Because it's not the good, great system that I thought it was. I mean, I even had foster parent license, y'all, and they were still telling me, no, you got a misdemeanor 30 years ago because you got in a fight. This whole time, it was almost, it was about 1 year that they had my grandchildren. Here's another kicker, man. We couldn't see them, couldn't talk to them. Finally, 2 months after they had been out there in the damn system for 8 months, they were able to call me on the phone and talk to me for 10 minutes a week. There was literally a damn alarm in the background that went off. You could hear it like an old school alarm clock. You know how those things sound? Well, they would call me and everything we said was recorded. It's like they was in damn jail. And I'm talking about my grandkids. Let me tell you, my oldest granddaughter, she has separation anxiety, and she's had it her entire life. But that made it 100 times worse. She was even wanting to take her own life, man. Now, how in the hell is that in the children's best interest? When I proved 10,000 times over that I had already had children. I had already had my elderly. I took care of my handicapped niece. Man, I proved everything to them. Throw it out on the line. But because 32 years ago, I got in a little fight and had reckless endangerment on me, I wasn't good enough. But yet, it was good enough to keep my kids or my grandkids in this damn place. And I ain't even going to tell you what they went through. They was wanting that 6 more weeks, man, so they could adopt them out and make huge money on them. And who knows where they would have went. You know, that's a true story, y'all. From the bottom of my heart, that's a true story. So when I see stuff like this, the foster system and these kids dying, I can't help but think, man, what about those grandparents, man? I guarantee you they tried to get them. But if you ain't got $15,000 or $20,000, you can hang it out your ass. Period. You can forget it. Because once they get their claws in them kids, you ain't getting them back. Unless you fight through hell. And let me tell you, if that kid is one of them that is in their little system over here, that somebody wants a child this age, this hair color, this eye color, it don't matter how much that parent tries or does what they say, it's never going to be good enough. It's never going to be good enough. And you know what? That child, it'll, who in the hell knows? There's so many children, man, lost in the system right now. Right now, as we're talking, they're out there and they're crying and they just want their damn family, man. There's mothers and daddies out there crying, grandparents, because they ain't got no money. They ain't got no damn money, but the system is taking the most precious thing from them, and that's their family. I probably shouldn't have did this live, but you know, I think people need to know. I think people need to know. I done that. Rain dancer, I did that. I called the legislators, called the mayor. I talked to the local police departments. I pulled up the ex-husband's report. This is something else I didn't tell y'all. Pulled up their reports. Found the reports. Do you realize before my daughter got with him, he had over 20 domestic violence reports made against him, against his other wives. And yeah, I even called those other wives, something I begged my daughter to do. I did it because I needed him in court, right? I needed him in court because he was fighting like hell against me. Well, there was his mom sitting over there in court, and she's wearing this long skirt and her hair's all up in a ball, and she's this big old church lady, right? Well, here I am sitting over here. I'm me. I'm just me, right? I might have a tattoo. So I'm not as good as this 75, literally, y'all, she was 75 years old. The woman has to sit in a damn wheelchair to wash her dishes, but yet they're going to give my grandkids to her. And I'm not throwing off on no elderly. I'm just saying it's wrong. But no, didn't give them to her. No. Temporary. Now, the other 3, she ended up getting custody of. And just to be honest, if it hadn't been for my attorney, that wouldn't even happen for her either. So, yeah, I need to back off of talking about all that crap stuff now. Thank God it's in the past. Let me tell y'all about my granddaughters today. They're amazing. They're great. They're beautiful. One of them is fixing to start 10th grade. I got her when she was in the 4th or 5th grade. Homeschooled them for a while. This one, she likes to go to school. So she's back in public school. She's fixing to take criminal psychology and child psychology. And the oldest one, I still homeschool her because she has social anxiety to an extreme. She has PTSD to an extreme. So I homeschool her, but she's happy. She is a little fashionista. She loves her makeup. She loves to dress up. Still scared. She's still scared a lot, but we're getting better with that. I hadn't seen my daughter in 2 years. And I can't even get on that topic because I'll get way too emotional. But yeah, so that's my story, y'all. And I just want you to know that the system ain't all it's cut out to be. I've got 9 grandchildren living, not counting the ones that was lost. Stillborn and miscarried and things like that. I've got 9 living. 4 of them's my son, and they live next door to me in a cabin, and I see them all the time. Four little boys, y'all. My son's got 4 little boys, and they are something else. They're mama's boys. Let me tell you what. My daughter's other 3, I don't get to see them that much. We send them Christmas presents and birthday presents and, things like that, but I don't get to see them too much. They live with his mom, and she don't like me because I'm not a member of her church. I was actually going to give my youngest granddaughter, the one that my daughter was on life support, she was actually going to give her to one of the church members. And somehow I found out about it and put a stop to that real quick. I called these church people and I'm like, wait a minute. Nope, that ain't happening. Because she's got grandparents that want her and love her. And she's not going to be adopted off to just a random church person. Well, my wife can't have no more children. She had a problem having her last one. We've only got 3. I'm like, well, you know what? That's my granddaughter. And if she goes anywhere, she's coming here. I understand y'all have y'all's whole little church kind of thing going on, but that's my grandchildren. And they are loved. So, but yeah, I don't get to see those 3 that much. Maybe one day. But, yeah, I've thought about it. I really have thought about it. Actually, I have a pretty damn big group on Facebook. It's not actually about the CPS, but it is in a way. It's called Narcissistic and Stockholm Syndrome Abuse Support Group. I made that group way before I ever had a YouTube channel, and I actually put my daughter in it before all this happened, and was hoping she would see the things and think on. Didn't work, but let me tell you what, that group has helped a lot of people. A lot of people. I've had a lot of people come to me, and in that group, people's like, if it hadn't been for this group, so it's helped a lot of people. It's but yeah, I don't have one on YouTube, and I have thought about it, but damn, it's a hard topic to talk about, man. And all you that know me pretty good know I don't talk about it because it's hard to talk about. It really is. It's a story that, hell, I tell you, the GAL, the garden ad litem, he actually told me I ought to write a book. He did. He said, you should write a book. Because I've never seen, and this guy was, oh, let me tell you, our grandkids was his last case, y'all. He retired. He had been an attorney for so long, and then he had went from the attorney to just being appointed by the state guardian ad litem or something like that. But that's the thing, Jazzy, I would not stop. I told Randy, I said, it's like this, when I found out that my oldest one granddaughter had even got to the point she wanted to take her own life or whatever, I was like, I won't stop, man. I won't. If I got to sell everything I got and live in a damn tent, I won't stop. They're not doing this to my grandchildren. And that's when I started doing this extensive research, finding out just how broken this system was and why it's so broken. Money. I'm going to tell you right now, I hadn't have been able, I couldn't do it today. I couldn't do it because I don't have it. Because we emptied out savings, 401ks, everything we had, really. But we managed. God made a way, right? But if it happened today, I couldn't do it. But I'm thinking about all these people out there that can't do it, can't do it. Some people can't just grab up $15,000-$20,000, So what's then? They just have to deal with it. And their kids are lost forever to the down system. The same system that's supposed to be helping them. Okay, Chris, thank you for coming in. Glad you came in. And thanks for being a good foster parent. God knows we need more of them. One of the foster places my granddaughters were in were good people too. And I was thanking God every day they were there. But the whole time they were in these systems, I didn't let the system pay for a damn thing they had. I literally, even though I couldn't see them or talk to them or anything like that, I was talking to the foster parents and I was sending them $100 a week, every week on a check to make sure that they had what they needed. I didn't want them, and that was pretty much our grocery money. I didn't give a damn, right? I wanted them to have what they needed. They were already going through enough. My daughter was MIA. Don't know where she was. I would try to get a hold of her, couldn't find her. So it's like fighting a pack of wolves out there if they ever get their claws in your kids or grandkids. So, for the love of God, don't ever, and these true crime people that's getting mad at another creator and calling CPS, just stop. Man, stop. Yeah, it's going to hurt the parent and it's going to break their heart or whatever, but you don't know what it's doing to the kid. If for some reason, and if they want that kid, it don't matter how awesome their home is, they'll find a reason. Just don't do that. Mail them a bag of cat poop or something. You want to get that much revenge on them, don't bring their kids into it. Stop. It ain't even funny. It's not revenge. Not when you're doing something like that. I'm beginning to tell you the horror she lived with until she was in a good foster home. They had a teen son her age. Thank God she found a good one. And it does happen, but I'm going to tell you, there's some real bad ones. There's some bad ones. And no matter how good they look on the outside, believe me, it ain't always that way. And about that quote unquote son-in-law I had, I still got him because he won't divorce my daughter because he's got a big insurance policy on her. But let me tell you what a good, outstanding like guy he was. He's a guard. He works at, y'all know I'm from Alabama, right? He works up at the Redstone Arsenal. like NASA. You know what I'm talking about? He works up there as a guard. So he has his badge. Everybody loves him. Such a nice guy. My daughter ever tell anybody he done something wrong? Oh, no. You done him wrong. You're nothing but a drug addict. You don't know the whole story. I don't care what he looks like on the outside. I don't care how beautiful his Facebook pictures are. I don't care how many of my grandkids he's got standing there smiling in them pictures. Believe me, he's not what you think. I just learned a month ago that one of his older daughters, not my granddaughter, this is from another marriage, was seeing him, and guess what he did? Choked her out. She called the law to him. I don't know what happened, but I know that much. So just because he's this nice, outstanding guy with a badge on, and he's got these real shiny boots and a uniform, and everybody thinks he's the first guy that'll stop if you need help. And trust me, they ain't always the good guy. Believe me. So, hell of a thing. But I tell you what, I thank God every day. I'm very blessed that we had the GAL, guardian ad litem, that we got. Very blessed that we was able to get an attorney. If any of you out there is going through this with the CPS, if you want to email me, I'll help you. I'll talk about it. And maybe I can help you do something. But it's a mean system. It is. And they're one hell of a system to fight. And if those kids they got looks like something that is over there in one of those files, wanted child to adopt, this age, this hair color, that hair color, you're really going to be fighting a damn battle then. You're going to be fighting one hell of a battle. And any of you praying people out there, keep my daughter in your prayers. I would really appreciate that. All right, that's enough about me. Anybody out there want to come up and tell a story, or no? And if you don't, don't blame me. Those are hard to talk about. But I felt, it being me and it being my channel, and I felt like, more people need to know, because a lot of people believe that's a good system out there, and it's just not. Just not. And this video's damn likely to be taken down, because we know how the cancel culture is. But without awareness, nobody's ever going to know, right? They're going to be just like I was, and thinking it's a good system that's helping people. And it's not. It's not, y'all. Oh, God. Absolutely. I mean, I would see it on, and my daughter, Mom, don't say nothing, some of y'all know what I'm talking about. But he would make these posts online if somebody's kid was sick or something, and you would see him comment on it. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Is there anything we can do? Oh, I can't stand to see one of my kiddos sick. That's what he called them, kiddos. I can't stand to see one of my kiddos sick. I'd rather be sick than them. Are you serious, dude? Are you really serious? When you made my 8-year-old granddaughter run around the damn house in 100-degree temperature and told her, if you stop, you got another hour. You're not going to stop. And her out there throwing up, puking. And then he makes one of his other kids ride a bicycle by her, follow her. Yeah, the other kid's on a bicycle, making sure she don't slow down. Yeah, I find out about this after the fact. He's got that whole wannabe military mentality. If they get in trouble, it's push-ups, it's running laps around the house. It's pull your pants down and whip you. He's terrible. He's terrible. I dealt with CPS. I had some good workers. They helped me. My third time, it was in the neighboring county, and they didn't hesitate. Oh, yeah, Ashley, I'm glad you did get some good ones the first time. Thank God. Thank God. Stay the hell away from them. Here's something a lot of people don't know as well. If they knock on your door, you don't have to answer it. You don't have to let them in your house. Don't let them in your damn house. Unless they can show you a search warrant, don't open that door, because you don't have to. They just knock on your door and say, hey, we've got a call. We're from the CPS. We've got a call that there could be an issue here. We need to come in and just look around and see the kids. At that point, you need to say, hell no, you're not. Let me see your search warrant. Because they won't come with a search warrant 99% of the time. They'll just come and try to voluntarily come in. And the judge will not always issue them a search warrant. So keep that in mind as well. Unless there's been one hell of a complaint and there has been proof of this complaint, then the judge really won't even issue that search warrant. So always remember, if they come to your door and knock on it and say they need to come in and see your house and talk to your kids, you show them the road. Don't let them in your house. Even if your house is spotless and your kids just got out of the shower and they're all cleaned up and pristine, buttoned up and beautiful, I don't care. Don't let them in your house. Don't. Unless they can show you a search warrant. Well, thank you, Lady Rebel. It is a rough story to tell, but I think it's important because I think others need to know about it. I think others need to know how the system is, and not just because it could be their kids or their grandkids. They also need to know, because don't ever think I need to call and them kids need taken away. Them kids are in a bad situation. They need taken away. Don't do that. Find out who a family member is or somebody else to call. Don't call them, because you're hurting the child, just to be honest. And if it's the last damn priority and you can't find another family member and these kids are in one hell of a bad place, then you got to call. I mean, you just got to. But make that your last damn priority to do. No, but they will. They will. You know what they'll do too? They'll go to the school and they'll talk to your child. They will literally go to the school, go to the counselor, tell the counselor the problem, and they will. And they get by with it. Let me tell you, they all work together. They're like one big pyramid scheme. They're all making money off of it. Truly, they really are. It's all, even the judge and the workers and the GAL, it's just one. Family court is one big corrupt bunch of shit. It just is. So yeah, they're not supposed to, but they will. They tried to come for my son once because I had a medical emergency, and the hospital worker decided I was a drug addict. Of course they did. I had serotonin syndrome and almost died, and he was never alone for a minute. See, you see what they do? And that is what they do. Let's see, it was a week ago. There was a couple from Michigan. You can Google this, but there was a couple from Michigan that was coming through Alabama, right? Well, in Michigan, I just read the story yesterday. In Michigan, marijuana is legal. It's legal. So they were coming through Alabama and they stopped, I think it was at McDonald's or something, and eat. Okay. the husband had marijuana in the glove box or something like that. I don't know. But they seen the out-of-state tag, so the cops was sitting at the car, and they wanted to check ID and all that. And there is some pissy cops out there, y'all. And the cops said they smelt something because the dog was putting a hit inside the car. So they said, well, search it. Because I guess the people from Michigan wasn't even aware that's not legal here at all. I'm telling you, here it's $1 million bond. No kidding. So anyway, they go searching the car and they found this marijuana. And from my understanding, it wasn't even much. So they arrest the parents, and guess who comes and gets the baby? The 8-month-old baby. Alabama DHR. So they take the child. Of course, the parents has, gotten their bond reduced, because you can do that too. But right up front, it's going to be $1 million, any kind of drug. But you can get it reduced if it's depending on what it is and how much. So they had gotten it reduced and they had gotten out. Well, they're back in Michigan now, but Alabama DHR still has their baby. And they're having to fight and jump through hellacious hoops. They even have a GoFundMe trying to raise money to get an attorney and maybe move to Alabama, do parenting classes, all kinds of shit, just because they were coming through here and stopped at McDonald's. True story. And DHR come and got their kid, a baby. And my heart goes out to them, man, because they look like a nice couple, they look like decent people. Now, I don't do nothing. I ain't even gonna lie. I drink a beer from time to time. Not all the time, but maybe, I don't know, once, twice a month, I might drink a beer, whatever. But I don't do anything else. But I'm not ragging on anybody that does either. It's just not me. I don't do it, just not me. But it's not legal here either. So that makes it a bigger deal here. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Once they get their claws in your child, you will play hell getting it back. Especially if it's something that they're really wanting to adopt out. If it's a child they really need that description, age, whatever, they're going to hang on to that child for dear life, and they're going to try to get that. I think it's 15 months. It's in state custody. At that point, you can't do nothing. Nothing. That child will be adopted out, and you'll never know where it's at. You will never know. You can't ask. They will not tell you. Whoever adopts them changes their name, their identity. You will not ever see your child again unless when it grows up, it finds you somehow online, or it finds out who you were. Because a lot of times when they're little and they get taken, that's it. Their birth certificate, everything's changed. They don't even know who they are. CPS tried to turn my mom against me and told my actually addicted ex to file for custody. They made me go to outpatient rehab. Although I wasn't on drugs, I'm prescribed Schedule II medication. Yeah, and they made you out to be a villain, didn't they? They made you out to be something horrendous. Like, they will write it up, and it doesn't matter what you say to them because they will twist the hell out of your words. It's terrible. And I wish that Nancy Schaefer hadn't have said that. I wish she would have just did it. If she hadn't have said anything, things may be a lot different today, but she did. And she said it, and the wrong person heard it. So, it's just a damn shame. But Oh yeah, they will. You know that I have heard, Mia, in divorce court. I found this out. Actually, the guardian ad litem told me this. In divorce court and custody court, family court, don't make no damn difference. They can use against you, and they will use against you if you cry, if you get emotional because you're hurt and you're sad that you don't have your kids, your grandkids, and if you cry, they will and can use it against you and say you're not emotionally stable enough to care for a child. And then you will have to go get evaluations. You'll have to be put on medication. Now, if they get a child, most of the time, all the children, they end up putting them on medication because they've got ADD or ADHD. And if they can get these children on medicine, then they get even more money. They get even more money because they're taking care of a special needs child at that point. So if they can get them on the ADD, ADHD, autism, any kind of medication, doesn't matter, then the state's getting even more money off of them because they're special needs. Statistical fact, most of the people in prison aged out of the foster system. When they finally got out of the damn system, they're threw out to the road. They're homeless. They have nothing. They have nothing. Don't even know who in the hell their family is or where in the hell their family is. They age out. They're kicked out to the streets. And what do? They just start doing what they can to make money, doing whatever, and end up in prison. Have been abused so much as a child that they end up being all kind of PTSD, having mental issues. It is a statistical fact. Yes, some of the children do come out of the foster system okay and good and even get a good family, but it's rare. It doesn't always happen that way. So next time you're bored or just, instead of Googling serial killers or the biggest true crime story of the day, look into the children. Look into the children in the foster system. Educate yourself on it because, even though we've got, 50 in here, if each one of them 50 tell 3 people and them 3 people tell 3 people, it can make a difference. We can, even though it's a little bit, there's strength in numbers, and then numbers can get bigger and bigger and bigger. And who knows, man, we make it make a difference. We make it make a difference, So next time you're bored, just do that. And some creators in here, Maya's a hell of a good creator, she researches the hell out of stuff, Let's start putting some more videos out about this kind of stuff. Awareness is important. We're sitting here right now, and there's a child in a foster home right now being treated like dirt. And there's a family out there trying like hell to get that child, and they won't because they don't have the money. And it's wrong. It's wrong. So let's do that. Let's try to do that, And even if we can't change the system, maybe it can open people's eyes a little more. Maybe people's eyes open a little more and they'll start noticing things, right? They'll start noticing more, and they won't be so quick to call CPS because people truly think they're doing the right thing. They do. If they see a child that they think is being abused or their parents are drug addicts or anything like that, they think they're doing the right thing. Them kids need, how often do you guys see it, hear it, read it in the comments of your local papers or whatever? Them kids need taken away. We all see it every day in these comments. Somebody needs to call CPS and get these kids. No, they don't. That's the last damn thing somebody needs to step up and find another family member they can talk to and get these kids. And then when the kids are away from the situation, then if the parents are strung out drug addicts, they're going to end up burying themselves anyway. But try to keep the kids out of it if at all possible. Sometimes you ain't got no choice but do that. But make it the last priority to do. Okay, I see that one. Let me go up, hon, and see if I can find it. I'm sorry. She gave her 4 kids to her mom every time she had one. I will pray for your daughter. Thank you so much. My sister decided to get clean after 20 years. All right. That's awesome. And she had seizures from the drug use. Well, a year ago. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. See, it's like damned if you do and damned if you don't. You know, once they've been on this stuff for so long, sometimes it makes you wonder, man, is it even safe for them to come off of it? I mean, if they're off of it that long, yeah, I get going to a rehab and doing it, you know, some people get in this permanent, like y'all believe my daughter's in a permanent psychosis in her head. I pray to God I'm wrong. I pray I am, but I believe she is. And they'll never come out of it. Yeah, Mia, we were talking about that, hon. And they do. They think, well, I'll just call, you know, CPS on them, and that's a good revenge. No, it ain't. Like, I don't care if they go into the cleanest house in the world, they can find one thing, like their damn kitchen cabinet cannot have a damn child protection lock on it. And if you open it and you've got like little, you know, paring knives or anything in that drawer, and it doesn't have a child protection lock on it, and you've got a child in that house under 12 years old, they can legally take your child. Believe me. Just now tell me, anybody, grandparents, mothers, anybody that has a child under 12 that comes in their home, have you all got child protection on every door and every cabinet, every refrigerator you got? No, we don't. But I'm going to tell you, if they want that kid bad enough, they can pull it just for that. Just for that, they'll call it safety issues. Don't let them in your house if they knock on that door. And like I said, the 50 that's in here, you tell 3 people. They'll tell 3 people. And make a difference. If we make a difference for one child, it's worth it. It's well worth it, right? "3 weeks of fear. I was just so glad my baby stayed where he belongs. I fought it best I could, but no lawyer." I said, I can still, yeah, I get you, Mary. I was a foster parent too and couldn't have my own grandchildren. So it's, yeah, I tell you, if you hear anybody doing that, I do not believe whatsoever in quote unquote drama. And I don't believe in calling people out and causing a chaos. But let me tell you what, if you hear somebody doing that just for a revenge kind of thing, that is the lowest of the low. There's no damn excuse for that. And if you hear that, tell me, because I'll call them out, because that's the lowest of the damn low. Oh, man, I've got them now, honey, after $15,000, $20,000. It's a long story. If you ever want to catch this replay, you'll hear it. But the short of the stick was 30 plus years ago, I had gotten a fight, got a misdemeanor, and they said that I was not, the kids wouldn't be safe around me because I'd gotten a fight 30 years ago and landed a misdemeanor. So, yeah, it's a pretty long story, but that is the gist of your answer there. It's ridiculous. They were even going back in when we were in high school. Like they did that deep research on us. They even went back in our parents to make sure our parents didn't have any past issues, right? The only thing was that fight I got in 30 plus years ago. That was a misdemeanor. That's the only reason. Now that I know what I know today, like they had to come to my house like 100 times and do what they call safety inspections and home safety, all these kind of things, right? They had to come to my house, literally going over it with a fine-tooth comb. I remember when they come out the first time, it had been raining here, and if you live in Alabama, you know, when it rains and kind of washes things out. Well, there was right out the edge of my drive, it had been raining like crazy, and it had kind of washed it like a hole. Not a hole, but like a little slope, right? And that first one got out, and she was walking up to the house, and her heel of her shoe kind of turned and where it had washed out there, and she goes, "Oh, a child could fall in that and possibly get very hurt." And she's writing stuff in her book. And I'm like, that's not always like that. It's because, we've had a lot of rain and it just washes out right there where where my husband's truck sits. It'll wash out. And then when he backs out, it leaves that there, and she's like, yeah, well, that's going to be a problem. And she's writing it down. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you serious? So Randy, we fixed it all. But yeah, I mean, it's anything they can find. I know for a fact that my grandkids is two that they really wanted to keep in the system and adopt out. I have no doubt. They tried everything in the world to say no. Foster license, a GAL was on our side. God himself was on our side. And nobody, the system hated our guts. No, they didn't hate our guts. They wanted to sell my grandkids is what they wanted. Is there any way you can do this again so I can come? Yes, we can. We can. Do y'all, if y'all want to do this again, we can. Because the system's broke as hell. And it's not just the criminal system. No. The family court system is jacked up too, y'all, in a big way. So yeah, we definitely can. This is Sunday night. Sunday night, we'll start doing stuff like this. How's that sound? We can start doing something like this. And as you see, I don't get a real hundreds and hundreds of viewers, and that's okay. It's all right. Because that ain't what I'm here for. I ain't here for how many viewers I can get. I'm here to spread a word, a truth, a fact, and to let people be aware of what's actually going on out there. If you'll notice, this video isn't even monetized because I don't want it that way. I want it out there. I want people to know what's going on. And if YouTube wants to yank it off, that's okay. We'll make another one next Sunday, Monday night. We'll talk about it again. I'll get up some more research. I've researched my ass off on this, but we'll go through some other cases. We may even start reaching out to some families and trying to help them. We might do that. Because there's a lot of families out there that need some help right now. There's a lot of mamas out there sitting there bawling right now because they ain't got the money. They can't fight the system. They can't see their babies. They can't see their kids. What about the parents that got called 2 days ago and told that their child is killed, is dead, was left in a damn van in 100-degree heat for 8 hours because the foster parent forgot it was in the car? Forgot it was in the car. Oh, it's definitely money, Mia. 100%. I hope, Mia, if you have an opportunity, go back after this is over. Just go back to the part about Nancy Schaefer and you'll see her, listen to her. You'll be surprised. And y'all write her name down if you want to research on this, Nancy Schaefer. There's other videos out there about her as well. But it's one of those kind of things that's kind of hush-hush. Because a lot of people are scared to death to talk out about this. Hell, look at Nancy. But it needs to be. It needs to be talked about. All right, y'all. We've been here 2 hours. Don't seem like it, and I've talked a lot. Y'all are probably tired of listening to me talk. So, yeah, we'll do this again. Any of you that wants to tell your story, sometimes it makes you feel good, not good. That's not a good word. It makes you feel better to be able to just get it off your chest and talk about it with somebody else that understands. Been there. They get it. It's just, at least you're not alone, right? And if you two don't yank it down and somebody watches the replay and hears this, next Sunday night, not Monday, Sunday, next Sunday night, we'll do it again. If you want to talk about your story, who knows? The right person may find it, come in here and want to help some people. And that'd be great. And if not, we're going to try to find somebody to help. I know a little bit that you can do. Corruption Sunday. That sounds good, Ash. That sounds good. That's what we'll do. Sunday. Love you, Nellie. My email is, hang on, I'll put it right here. It's outcastjustice@gmail.com. And, email me, whatever. Yeah, we will. And Mia, if y'all are not a member of her channel, go subscribe, man. And if she gets to looking into this too, y'all, she goes deep. And Mia's an author. I mean, she's authored a book. She's a psychic. I mean, if you're not a member of her channel, go join. For real. Dave or Mia, you're a mod, honey. Put your link in here. And if she does some stories on this, she goes down deep. So, and she's like me, she's another night owl. So, yeah, that's good for us night owls to have somebody out there at night. Yeah, Mia, and you may even know somebody. I mean, you probably already know a lot about this situation. I know you do. I mean, as much as you've looked into things and done things. So, yeah, Mia, we should do that. I mean, you do it on yours, me do it on mine. The more awareness, the better. We need to always remind people, don't open that door. Don't open that door if they knock on it. You make them show you that search warrant. You make them show you that warrant they can come in your house. Don't let them just open it. Don't invite them in your house. A lot of people feel like, well, if I tell them they can't come in, they're going to think I'm doing something wrong. No. Believe me, they're used to being turned away. I promise. Actually, they're kind of shocked when they get to walk on in because most people know already they don't have to open that door. But there is some people that don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't have knew because I truly thought it was a good system. I honestly did until I was, unfortunately, had to become a part of it. So yeah, when my kids were little, had they have come to my door, I would have opened it. I would say, come on in. Look at my kids. They're great. Yeah, you can talk to them. Don't. They'll twist up and they'll find any damn thing. Plumb down to you not having a safety lock on your damn cabinet. I promise you. Don't do it. You make them come back with that search warrant because there's a hell of a high likely that the magistrate ain't going to give them one anyway. Don't do it. Pink, come back, please, next Sunday. I'll schedule this tomorrow or maybe tonight. I don't know. But next Sunday, every Sunday, we're going to start talking about this, okay? Because it seems it's A lot of people's been through a lot of stuff. And I think the more stories out there and the more that people knows what's really going on inside that system, maybe some things will change. It could happen. It really could. And you know, if you can just help one, just one, you know. And if you see a child out there and you think they're in a bad situation with their mom or dad, then yeah, they probably need out of that house. They probably do. But try to find another route. Just always try to find another route. Make that the last priority. And if you happen to be here in Alabama, call me. Call me. I'll take the child. I'll take the child until the parents straighten up or get something going on. I mean, I'm just being honest. I don't like seeing no kid get put in that system because I know it now. You know, so, all right, guys. Well, I'm going to get off of here and go check on my granddaughters and see why they're not in the bed yet, because I still hear them in there. But you know what? They're laughing. They're having fun. And they're at home. They're with Mama. And I know that they're being taken care of. So I'm going to sleep good knowing that. Okay? Appreciate y'all so much for coming. Sorry if I bored you. Because I can get that way. I know I can get boring. Tiffany, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Crooked system. They absolutely do. Once they get them, that's it. You will go through. And if it happens to be one that they have on their little list that somebody's wanting to adopt, you won't get them back unless you got $15,000, $20,000. And God looking over your shoulder. I don't care how much you go by what they're telling you to do. And if they manage to keep them there 15 months, that's it. They own them then. All right, guys. Have a great day, night, evening, wherever you may be. And until next time, this is UnJustified.